thing go any faster?
Well, I'm sorry, the speed limit's 70, so...
Well, screw the speed limit. Actually, no. Ooh, yeah. Don't screw it. That's good thinking, okay? Staying conspicuous. That's good.
How come I can understand you? Are you using some sort of neural language router?
Actually, I'm speaking English, you fucking idiot. I'm sorry. You're in shock right now. I understand this must be very weird for you. Just act normal and drive north, okay?
Hey YouTube, this is a video I've made for my friend Lee, because somehow he missed the fact that we have a sun simulator in our skies above Earth at the moment, which I find incredible because there's so much about it on the internet, and that together with the fact that normally our sun was a yellow ball in the sky and now seems to take on so many different appearances all the time. It's like, you know, more often than not is different on each day of the week, and takes up quite a lot of the sky. So I thought I'd leave it to the people that know, that put this information out before and put a lot of effort into their videos. So without further ado, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Steve Olson, WSO channel. Suggest you go and check it out. Off we go.
Credit should not be a part of this.
So whoever found this, thank you. Thank you. Now, the patent itself, July 7th, 1971, we've all probably heard of this. So the first thing I want to talk about is we talk about a sun simulator all the time. And a lot of people are like, where's your tin hat? I get it. And I didn't believe it at first either. It's too remarkable. It's too fantastic to believe it. I get it. But the theory goes that the reason that they had to build this artificial light source, otherwise known as NASA STAR, the reason they had to build this system was because our sun was going to start fritzing and start to dim during this time of the passing of Nibiru and the passing of the Nibiru system. And because of the sun and electromagnetics, what's going to happen is that NASA foresaw this, and instead of panicking the world, and also from an agricultural perspective, they put up this big artificial light. That's what we say. And I'm not even sure it's even it's so proven to me now, it's not even a doubt. But the program itself is called NASA STAR. It started in 71, and the idea was to build an artificial light source, okay? We see evidence of this technology today where the Germans are talking about putting up an artificial light system. Again, this is conditioning for you because this story was pretty big on the internet. So we also see Germany building an artificial sun source. So we have a patent. We have indications that this is that they've already started deploying this light system. And number three, we're seeing current construction of replacement technology or new technology that's going to go up to continue to supplement the sun. And again, you're like, Steve, why didn't they tell us about this and everything? Well, because they know that the world would panic if they knew this, so they're slowly leaking it out. You can't just come up to somebody and tell them something that's opposite than they've ever known their whole life, because cognitive dissonance will kick in and they'll actually get violent. People that have to deal with cognitive dissonance will actually get violent. So they have to leak the story out so the public doesn't go freaking out, right? But anyway, here's another evidence of the sun simulator in Germany. Now, here's a picture. We've all seen this kind of rainbow around the sun itself, right? Well, here's a photograph that actually went into that was able to actually go in and look at it very closely. So again, you can see that there's some type of artificial emitting source in front of the sun, and it's basically this claw is what he's trying to show here, is that's how they replace the lights in it. That's how deep we're into this, is we actually can figure that out. Several months ago, working with Scott Sion and Nibiru Channel 2016, we corroborated, and what we found was we had somebody with a, call it a 35 millimeter camera that took a picture of the sun, and this is what they came out with. They were actually able to see part of the lensing system, which I'm going to go into here in a little bit more detail. And then here we have a corroborating piece of evidence where we saw a refraction that shows the same device. And it's only at certain angles that you can see it like this. But you'll see there's a little dotted orb in the middle that's oftentimes refracted on, different people's pictures, and everybody thinks it's the cell phone. It's not. It's the Fresnel lens. And that's why we have this dark spot in the middle of the sun itself, okay? Again, why are they doing this? Because they need to make us feel like the sun is still working, okay? Now check out this little, let's go on and I'll show you something else that just blew my mind that really solidified it in for me, okay? Here, let's check it out. The other day I was talking to a guy who was having dinner with a friend at a very respectable restaurant near Heathrow Airport in the UK. And he overheard a conversation from the table behind him between a number of people with American accents about security alert. And that reminded me, and that remained hushed up in D.C., that resulted in the taking into custody of a scientist and the death of an associate with him. The scientist had been on the run, apparently had classified information he had been working on, regarding the shielding in space. Using a satellite that can hide objects by doing what? Beaming a broad, low-power laser beam towards the Earth. Here's where we actually got some of the evidence that really kind of, and this actually came out of Richie from Boston, who is the guy that found this video originally, but it's been reported on several times since, and I give Richie a lot of credit for that. Richie's been a very big leader in terms of helping us find this. He doesn't like me very much, but don't worry about that. I like him. So anyway, here's the Boeing video that Richie pointed out a couple months ago, and that I've used as corroborating evidence for the sun system that we found. Here's Boeing talking about their future, space elevators, habitation on Mars. Now listen to this. I'm going to turn this way up right here. Listen very carefully. Ready?
Provide Earth with unlimited clean power in less than a century.
What? So here we've got they're actually talking about, really getting more energy out of the sun with this lensing system, right?
Took the world from
just that little clip, right?
less than a
Little
century.
hint. Do you think it's possibly already deployed? I don't know. So, in addition to the patent, which is detailed, by the way, and you can get it. It's easy to find on the internet now. It's out there, and you can actually see components that look similar to the way it really ended up being built. And you'll actually see lens flares sometimes when you're taking pictures of the sun that will show parts of the system. It's pretty interesting and very funny. But anyway, not only did we rely on the patent, though, we also had a physicist that came through, and the physicist's been helping our community a while back, and actually went in and made notes on the basic construction of it. And in their opinion, they felt like it was a lensing system combined with a light sun simulator system in order to create this effect, okay? And there's also the idea of the Fresnel lens being spinning, and that's one of the reasons why we see the circles all around our lens flares. So you can basically see that the lens shield refracts at the edge, and that makes that halo. So we're actually theorizing that part of the reason why we have this halo is because of the sun simulator. And you can see how a chromatic aberration occurs, and in that chromatic aberration, using this Fresnel lensing system, you can actually make things look different, distort them, or even make them disappear altogether. We also have had plenty of evidence that has been given to us from NASA and discussions about this artificial lighting, artificial system. So the next thing I wanted to show you was, in addition to the white paper, we also have a physicist that's already weighed in on an footage from March. And this is where we could actually see the actual system itself being hidden. You can actually see the shields. We got some refractions that show how the shields deploy. And so we actually think the brown dwarf is in this area, by the way. That's where that rainbow is. But we actually, now that we know what we're looking at, we can actually penetrate and see that there's shielding. There's all kinds of stuff going on to try to hide it. We're trying to reflect sun off of atmospheric particulate to hide it. We've got chemtrails hiding it. We've got lenses hiding it. And we've got lots of people working at it. But the objects are still up there, guys. And we see plenty of evidence, plenty of pictures that indicate that this lensing system is in place. And we have plenty of corroborating evidence for that. So the question is, why is this so important, right? Why is it important for us to point out that there's an artificial lighting system up there? Because what it shows is that they are trying to keep us calm. They are trying to keep agriculture going. They are trying to keep the Earth alive as this thing comes in and starts to mess with our solar system, and it's doing so on an increasing basis. So they've been hiding the system with the lensing system, a laser lighting system, and this very bright simulated sun device. And while it sounds crazy on its face, if you look at this evidence, I mean, it's very hard to deny that there's something up there, and it's weird, and it's creating all kinds of weird effects in our sky.
Quite compelling, don't you think? So, to add to what he said, I really believe that there's more than one of these simulators up there. It's not practical to think that there's just one that covers the whole Earth, and they just satellite around the Earth. The reason that I think this is because over here we seem to get my refractions seem to be triangles, whereas that are very defined, and out in the States they seem to get these petals and equally different colours. Over here we seem to get more of a bluey tinge that is coming from the sun continuously, whereas over there they get like this pinky red. So yeah, with regards to the Germans, yeah, go and have a look at it. Go and look at their sun simulator that's on the ground, and see what you think, you know, and the details that they're given with this. But you know, it seems really strange that, you know, either they're trying to drip feed us information, so it's not a shock, not such a shock when we actually find out that our sun is fake. But it's in, you know, I wonder all the time where they've managed to get the technology to build such a thing, and equally just the maintenance of it, because of where it sits, is you know, that's something that I lie awake at night thinking about. The reason I started looking up at the skies was because of the sun, and you know, I just kept saying to my wife all the time, it just doesn't look right. That's not our sun. You know, it just doesn't look the same. You know, and it, you know, as you can see in this video here, you know, you've got clouds going behind it, which is impossible. Clouds going in front of it. It's just very, very weird. Maybe this can happen. None of us really know that much about the sky or about space, you know, and it's just bizarre at the moment that it seems to be everywhere you look, everyone's talking about space, and you know, there's been a lot of activity with satellites being sent up, and you know, all sorts of things. Anyway, let's take a closer look at this sun and just stay online. This next guy, Jeff P, really knows what he's talking about, so without further ado, let's see what he's got to say.
Video, we can see these interlocking, I believe to be ultra thin, acting as filters to filter out Planet X, and we see the sun setting through the lens array. What would that look like through the ground? Now I believe that they've been chemtrailing. Notice the sun sets and we see the curvature of these lenses as the sun passes through these. So I first thought they were planets, and they are the lens array, creating holographic projections. Okay, with that being said, let's show you some compelling evidence of the lens array. And this was taken just kind of as a preview on my last video, that we could see the setting sun and what appears to be the unveiling of this technology. Now I think that this white thing is an actual lens that's unveiling this whole system, because it's too close in hiding. And here we could see the projection of the fake sky behind it, filtering out Planet X. These things are like bizarre one-way mirrors. I do think that Caltech and NASA had designed this. I had mentioned this in my other videos. So if you have more questions about this object, go back and watch my other videos, because what I have for you next are subscriber photos that validate everything that I'd shown you. And get ready for this, people. Yeah. Look at that. Is that some crazy footage or what? Yeah. These are the lenses. This is the fake sun behind it. And now I know why they chemtrail these edges, so you don't see the fakeness of the skies that are ahead of us. Look at the setting. Look at this next picture. Here it's beginning to set. What would that look like on video? And then here it sets. A nice close look at that. You can see the round edges here. Now, I will show you next let's watch this video in slow motion that was taken. Look at right here. Look at that lens. Look at the chemtrails here. And look how they're flying their planes right across those lenses to create distortion. You don't see that nice round edge because there is nothing normal about that. Look at this plane flying right through here. I am showing you at 1/4 speed. Do you see the nice defined edge where my cursor is right there? That is breathtaking. Look how they put the chemtrail right up the center of that thing. It does look. Let's play that in real time. This is a time lapse, so it wouldn't really be real time anyways. But let's just play it at normal speed, what that would look like.
There's the black line, and there's the outline of something.
Right there. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Mary, for that video. I know you want accolades for this, but it validates my point that I'm not making this stuff up. You just caught this on a time-lapse video, and it's absolutely stunning. Thank you very much. Wow. Look at that. That's just worth showing a few times over and over again. That's insane. Right there. Look at that. Now look at these chemtrails. These are jet. Why are they so interested in flying airplanes right now during this fake sunset? Well, I have some thoughts about this lens array. I don't think it takes up the entire sky, but I think it's in a size big enough to cover up the entire solar system when it does pass through certain constellations, covering constellations at a time. I'm curious if this would be over the Orion constellation or Leo, somewhere in that realm. Anyways, thank you for that. So in my next video was just a refresh from the last cover-up video that in a webcam to Mexico, the setting sun through this lens array as it goes through multiple lenses, showing the light that they want us to see. But I think that the light, Nemesis star, is so bright that it's lighting up the lens itself. Instead of acting as a lens, it's just lighting up that whole thing. And just look at this line here and here as this whole system passes through these lenses. And perhaps in a later video I'll kind of show what these look like, but I think they're a series of interconnected lenses. 1, 2, 3. As it passes through, they can just turn this system off and on. So that is pretty compelling. Again,
Grow up. You guys see my shorts?
How did you do that? How did you go invisible?
Oh, it's a camouflage response.
Well, like Predator.
Exactly. Although I can only do it while I'm holding my breath.
But you can do it anytime you want.
Anytime.
That's just like him.
Oh, am I the only sane person here?
So I went out and bought myself a gold lens because I got fed up with like pointing my camera at the sun and not being able to get past that technology. And lo and behold, look what I found. So as you can see, the sun is looking a pinky orange, which indicates to me that it's gone into a minimum. I know it goes into a minimum every 10 or 20 years, but I think this is looks to be more of a serious minimum than those type of minimums. Anyway, what's more important is looking around the sun, and you can see this lensing system quite clearly. Metallic straight lines in the sky that shouldn't be there. So what do you think? Is that our sun, or is it a simulator? As incredible as it sounds. The only problem I have with technology is that it can break down, unlike nature. So it's good as long as it's working and doing what it should be doing. And really, I really wouldn't want to be seeing what's going on behind it anyway, because it looks quite sinister if you just have this red sun. I mean, I don't know if you remember the eclipse that we had just recently, or we had a red sun that was just up there. It made it go very, very eerie, and that's what we'd be experiencing 24/7. So the fact that it's up there is a good thing. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope it's opened your eyes a bit more. There's plenty more going on in our skies as well as this, and all I can suggest to anyone is that you just need to get out there and start looking, because really you can watch all the videos there are and you're not going to really believe or appreciate what's going on until you actually start looking for yourself and seeing it with your own two eyes, as I do. So I'm going to leave you a little clip right at the end, which is more of a food for thought, really.
Aqui é o pôr do sol. Não sei quem é esse amarelo que a gente vê aqui, não sei quem é. E como se não bastassem dois, tem esse terceiro aqui, ó, 2. Quarta situação onde tem 2 sóis aqui. Se alguém puder explicar, eu agradeço.